Okay, we're rolling. This is my friend, Drea.
Hi.
I
Hello.
I brought her here today to talk about a serial killer in Scotland known as Peter Manuel. We're gonna get started. Okay, so this guy, Peter, was born on March 15th, 1927. Uh, he was born to Samuel and Bridget Anyways,
Manuel.
his parents migrated to the United States for a better life during the Depression of the 20s. They moved to Detroit.
I just want to say, why would you come to the United States during the 20s in the middle of the Great Depression?
It wasn't the great. I mean, maybe. No, yeah, it was. I think it's fine. Well, yeah, it's fine.
Interesting.
Um, they moved to Detroit, Michigan, and Samuel started working for a car factory, and Bridget was working as a domestic servant. So like, some people, rich people, hired her.
Like a paid slave?
Like a, wouldn't say slave, but okay, a paid.
Well, a servant is also paid, though.
Yeah, a certain servant. Okay. Anyways, um, Samuel eventually fell ill, and he moved them back to Scotland in 1932, which that would make Peter 5. He was 5 years old when they moved back. Um, he had an American accent because he was born and raised in the United States for the first 5 years of his life, so he picked up an American accent, and he was actually bullied because of this. Because in Scotland, everyone has their Scottish accents.
I don't know what you want me to say. Sorry.
um,
But wouldn't your accent change, like, to more Scottish as you're getting older? Because 5 is not that. 5 is young, but, like, not that young. But it's also not that old.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like if you're growing up around people who have that kind of accent, you're gonna reach into it. Like if you, I mean, I guess he might have had like a little bit of a Scottish accent.
I can kind of see why, because it's like he probably learned his alphabet in the United States and also how to pronounce the alphabet, and then they probably
like
pronounce it a different way.
Like because people in Scotland do like an like that, but people in America say o, or we're just crazy like that. So when Peter was 12 years old, so 2 years after he moved back to America, he had his first court appearance. He was bound for 12 months for shoplifting, breaking and entering, and in larceny.
What's larceny? Do you know?
Hold on. We'll look this up. Oh, wait, no. How do you? Oh. Larceny. Theft of personal property.
So, just like stealing from someone.
So, one big question was why he was so aggressive when he was committing the murders. And it was because he was, like, the bullying that I had mentioned. That was because he was aggressive a lot. It was because he had that accent. But otherwise, his family they had a really respectable family background, which was really surprising for how aggressive he was being. Which is just so crazy to me that something as small as it seems is like bullying compared to what some serial killers go to. Something as small as bullying, bringing up this whole thing.
That's crazy.
So, I was going to try and get a part in for this, but it does not work with his background. I was going to see if he had any relationship issues or anything like that, but he had no apparent spouses or children. He was not feeling it. He did not want to
Maybe
that.
he's just doing everything under the radar. Doesn't want people to know.
I mean, that's fair. So, you know what a psychopath is, right?
Mm,
Do you know the difference between psychotic and psychopath?
Psychotic, I think, is like
Yeah, like they're
institutionally
legally
crazy.
insane.
And a psychopath
Psychopath.
is just someone who they can look normal, but be
Yeah.
crazy in the head.
Yeah, so he was a psychopath. He didn't have any mental illnesses that they could find. Yeah, so that was a big thing. So, before we get into some of the actual murders of this man who was not nice, we're going to get into the nature of what he did, which, content warning. So the nature of this guy's crimes were very violent. Starting off small, he used a lot of violence. He did robbery, and he shot weapons at people, and he also did kidnapping.
Yeah, shooting someone is small.
And well, you know what I meant, like not as
Right.
insane as it could be. And actually, I think the other two, he did when he was, I think, like when he was like around 16, like that's when he started doing. He committed multiple counts of sexual assault and rape. And actually,
Ew.
the first known case that I could find of, like the start of his raping was actually one of his school teachers.
School teacher's wild.
Yeah, he was not a great kid. He, like, because he was bullied, he ended up not being the greatest person. Yeah, he committed 9 murders, actually, but it is believed that he may have committed 15 in total, making his his count of murders more than the Yorkshire Ripper, who is not the same as the Ripper from the Victorian Ages.
Yeah.
But, like, really, those two are really close, so just think about that for a second. Like, this guy, the Yorkshire Ripper, was really similar to Jack the Ripper. And they're saying that Peter Manuel might have, like, been more serious than they were. Which is so crazy.
How long was he killing? Or do you get into
So,
that?
he only killed for a year. He killed 9 people in 1 year.
And maybe 15?
Or maybe it was 2. No, yeah.
Like 9 to 15?
2 years. He killed from 1956 to 1958.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like 9 murders. Like, splitting that up, that's... Well, if he did 15, that's like...
There's like 4.5 murders a year
No, it's
between
like
2 years.
If he did 15, it'd be 17.5.
Yeah.
Or 7.5, not 17. He was not that insane, I promise. Oh, he was still not. Okay, now we're good.
Okay. We're good
So,
now.
last time we were here, because it's the next day, we were talking about his crime nature. And so, basically, when he was sentenced, he was actually relatively calm. Which, you know, like, is kind of unnerving because there's so many pictures that you see of people where they're, like, serious-faced. And then you're like, okay, that's...
Yeah, he killed like a lot of people.
Yeah. He actually ended up defending himself. I don't think he got a lawyer. He just defended himself, and he was
Wasn't
He
wanting
was
to
better
win his
than-
court case.
What?
Dude was not wanting to win his court case.
No, but actually he did a way better at defending himself than anyone actually expected him to. But he was still sentenced to death by hanging.
Okay, so where did you put the card?
Oh, Libby, I don't put it like.
Okay.
It's a talent.
um.
So squeaky.
So his first known murder was of 17-year-old Anne. I think it's Nylands because the K is silent. She'd gone dancing for the Scottish holiday Hogmanay on January 2nd of 1956. She was supposed to return home that night, but never showed up. And as you know now, we have very different times where parents are like way more, what's the word, like stressed
Strict
about
or-
stressed about having their kids out past a specific time.
Past curfew.
Yeah, but this was, you know, the 50s, so it was way different. So their first instinct was that she was probably just staying at a friend's house.
Yeah.
But she never returned home, and they reported her missing on January 4th, so 2 days after she was missing. And just to name some other
How old was she?
cases, 17.
17.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know. I'm not
sad.
going to go into all of them because he did a lot of murders, but the other families or just people, Sidney Dunn, he killed the Watt family, like the entire family, Isabel Cook, and the entire Smart family. So he killed...
Probably was killing families.
Yeah, he killed 2 families. He pleaded guilty for all murders and was, like mentioned earlier, was sentenced to death by hanging. And so since he committed these awful, horrible crimes, he ended up having to get buried at the Barlinnie Prison Cemetery in Glasgow City in Scotland, which kind of sucks because it's like you don't want to be buried in a cemetery for prisons, just because it's like I'd rather be buried like next to my parents or like a grandparent, a relative. So 2 years after his first murder, his death sentence was carried out on July 11th of 1958. This is kind of sad. Okay,
Okay.
we're calm now.
Mhm.
So as I said, his death sentence was carried out in July. Yeah, only 8 people showed up, which is a little sad. Like,
Were they like relatives?
I think his...
Or just like
I think-
publicity and all that?
I think there was probably most of them were family, but the only people he really had in his life were his parents, so I'm assuming 2 of them were his parents and everyone else was public, but I mean, at the same time, if he killed 2 families plus 3 people, I probably wouldn't want to go get close to him as close as they
Yeah,
probably were.
I wouldn't want to associate with someone who was a murderer if they were in my family, so I wouldn't be there.
So something
personally.
crazy that while I was researching for this that I found, there were, I think during one of his trials when he was a kid, his dad actually was his defense. Like his dad defended him in court.
When he was a kid?
When he committed, it was I think when he raped one of his school teachers, his dad stood up for him. Yeah, he was like, my son didn't do this, which is crazy because his dad knew his son did it. That's how you know his family was really
Yeah.
not the cause of that, because I don't personally, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. So I don't know exactly why, but after they hung him, they took him and pumped his stomach. I don't know if it was if someone thought he'd been taking drugs or drinking some
I think
alcohol.
they pump your stomach after you die either way so that they can get your body ready for going to the morgue and all that.
Well, I guess the more you know. But yeah, nothing of consequence was found, so he was completely clean, which is crazy.
Interesting.
I know.
Very.
So actually, what I was looking at when I was doing research for this is that, what do they call him? I think they called him the Beast of Birkenshaw is what they called him.
Beast of Birkenshaw.
Yeah,
Or
which
the Birkenshaw Phantom.
no, that's just what I.
Oh.
That's
Good
just what I
name.
think is a good name.
Mhm.